In this video, I'll be showing you how to prep your board for fiberglassing by applying a seal coat and taping off your lap line. If you haven't done so already and your deck accessories are still sticking out slightly above the wood part of your board surface, go ahead and just sand those flush with an orbital sander. The tape that you applied originally will come off and you'll need to reapply tape since you'll be adding more epoxy over them. I recommend just taping over them with some painter's tape and then trimming around them with a nice sharp blade or a knife. The next step is adding what's called a seal coat to your board. This is just a layer of epoxy resin that soaks into the surface of your wooden board and seals the wood. The main purpose of this is to prevent air from escaping through the board in later steps, especially the final fill coat or hot coat of epoxy, which could lead to these little pinhole bubbles if the skip is stepped. So for the top side of my sanded board, I use 6 ounces of mixed epoxy resin and hardener, and then just move that epoxy around with my squeegee. Depending on your wood species and therefore how absorbent it is, the amount of epoxy required to penetrate and cover the entire surface and side rails may vary slightly. You just want to coat the entire surface so the entire board is sealed. After the first side is cured, you can flip it over and repeat the process on the opposite side. The last thing that I'm doing to my board is taping off the cut lap line on the bottom side of my board, close to where the bottom edge of the rail material meets the cedar strips. In the next step, you're going to be saturating the fiberglass on the top deck that hangs over the side rails, and this is then squeegeed to the opposite side of the board and onto this tape. When the epoxy starts to gel or kick, I'll trim off the fiberglass with the razor and then create a nice clean line where this tape was. This is a simple but admittedly unnecessary step when fiberglassing a clear, non-pigmented surfboard or paddleboard. So if you'd like, you can skip this tape job completely on the top and the bottom and do what's called a free lap, which requires no tape, and you'll simply squeegee the saturated fiberglass onto the opposite side of the board and let the resin cure naturally. Then, when you go to glass the other side, you'll just sand that edge of the cured fiberglass flush with the wood and repeat. Whichever lap method you choose, your board is now ready for laminating with your epoxy and fiberglass, which we'll go over in the next video.